Hi everyone. Now let me see a DT-based study on the components of embedded system, the architecture and the components of embedded system, handled by Dr.Senthil for the course Embedded System offered to third year EEE students. This DT-based study is conducted by Ms. Harshini and Ms. Abhisha of third year EEE. Thank you. Now let me see the video.
Everyone, she is Abhisha and myself Harshini. We are the student of SNS College of Technology studying BE Electrical and Electronic Engineering. Now we are going to explain about the topic of components of embedded system hardware.
An embedded system consists of processor, memory, and input or output unit and has a specific function with a large system. Embedded system have application in consumer, home environment, industrial, medical, automation, etc. For embedded system are also called as embedded computers. Generally speaking, they are small in form factor and drive specific computing tasks. Part of large system. Embedded systems are useful in application with size, power, cost, weight constraints.
How does embedded system work? Generally, embedded system are computer. Therefore, like most other computers, they contains a combination of hardware and software such as microprocessor, microcontroller, and non-volatile memory, graphic, programming units, and etc. And communication interface and board, power supply, and system application code. However, embedded systems have four main factors, that is purpose, design, cost, and human involvement. The main components of embedded system hardware are power supply, reset, oscillator circuit, and processor, and time watchdog timer, and interrupt controller, and output device interfacing circuit, and input device interfacing circuit, program memory, RAM and ROM, series communication port, parallel port, application specific circuit. Power supply. The power supply is component in electrical unit responsible for powering up the electrical load of the embedded system. While a 5V power supply is generally required, the range can be go from 1.8 volt to 3.3 volt depending on the application. To ensure system operation and smooth and efficient power supply is must. The power supply unit can either be light or battery powered. Some embedded system use a independent power supply while other leverage the same source as the largest technology being powered.
Next is processor. So embedded system come in two variants, microcontroller powered and microprocessor powered. A form of integrated circuits, these two components give system in computing power. In simple terms, the microcontroller or microprocessor serves as the brain of the embedded system and drives its performance. Process ranging from 8-bit to 16-bit to 32-bit, the main difference in processing speed and throughput. For instance, 32-bit processor has high processing speed and since it can manipulate 32 bits at once, while the 16-bit processor has comparatively lower processing speed as it manipulates only 16 bits at a time.
Timer are used in application requiring the creation of delay before the execution of a specific function by the embedded system. On the other hand, counter are used in application where the number of times a specific event task place need to be tracked. Up counter count upward from the starting value to, while down counter count downwards to 0 into 0 0. Counter are integrated into the form of register type circuit.
Next is input or output interfacing circuit. Input components allow other components with large interconnected circuits to interact with embedded system. For instance, a sensor helps provide input from the user to process. One process is completed, the results are communicated to required destination via output component.
Next is memory. The memory components is essential for storing data in embedded system. This component is generally integrated into the microprocessor or microcontroller. The two types of memory are RAM and ROM. RAM is known as the data memory and is volatile, which means that it stores information only and is wiped clean when the power supply is turned off. On the other hand, ROM is also known as code memory and is responsible for storing the program code. It is not valid storing system information even when the power supply is turned off.
Serial communication port. In serial communication port, you can communicate with other embedded systems via this interface. In embedded system, various communication interfaces are available including UART, USB, Ethernet, RS-485 and many more. A serial port is an interface for serial communication in which data is transferred one bit at a time. The serial port protocols UART, SPI, SCI and 12C are often used. Parallel port. Peripheral connections are made via a parallel port. In comparison to modern serial port, parallel ports have data lines and require long cables and port connectors. 7 output and input is necessary to communicate with embedded system. An input source for system could be sensor. The system's microcontroller has an input port and output port. They may be set up. You can use the fixed number of input and output port on microcontroller you need. We require input to engage with embedded device. The input could come from user or sensor. Thank you.